Now let's solve sum of left leaves. In this problem, we're given the root of a binary tree and we need to return the sum of all left leaves. So we have this example 1. What we need to return is the sum of all left leaves. Now the left leaves can be on the left and right side. It just has to be literally a left leaf. So for instance, in example 1, what we need to return is 9 plus 15. These are both left leaves. And so we need to return 9 plus 15, which is 24. So we're going to solve this problem recursively. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to return in our main function the result of the helper function, which we're going to create in a moment. We can call this anything. Let's call it left leaves. And what we're going to give it is root and false. So bear with me as I write this helper function and I will explain what false means. So we're going to create our helper function, public int. We called it left leaves. That takes two parameters, tree node, root, and boolean. We can call this is left. So as you can see, initially we put boolean is left to be false. Now what we're going to do is we're going to check if the current node that we're on is null. If it's null, that means its value is 0. The next thing we're going to check is if the node that we're on is a leaf node. And how are we going to check if it's a leaf node? If what it's pointing to the left and what it's pointing to the right are both null, that means it's a leaf node. But at the same time, what we also need to check is that if it is a left leaf. And this is where the boolean is left comes into play. Let's skip that statement for now. The final statement we're going to write in our code is that we need to return left leaves of two things. We need to return left leaves of root.left and true. So what are we saying? On any node that we're on, when we go to its left side, we're going to set is left to be true because yes, it's true, we're going to the left. So no matter what node we're on, if we were on 20, in the end we're going to return root.left true. So we're going to go to 15 and set it to true. And we're also going to return, with that, we're going to add to it root.right and false. So when we go to the right, anytime we go to the right, we're going to set boolean is left to be false. Every time we go to the left, we're going to set boolean is left to be true. So we're at 3. Since 3 is not a leaf node, we're going to return left leaves of root.left and true plus left leaves of root.right and false. So when we call this method here on root.left and true, basically we're going to get a value of 9. And what we're going to add to 9 is root.right and false. So we don't add anything, plus it's not a leaf node. So what's going to happen? We're going to call our function again on root.left and true plus root.right and false. So root.left and true, we're going to see that this is a leaf node and is left is true. So we have a value of 15 plus root.right and false. So since it is a leaf node but it's false, we don't take this value here. And so in the end, we're going to add 9 and 15 and we're going to get 24. So let's begin coding and make this as understandable as possible. So if root is equal to null, that means the value is 0. So return 0. For example, if our first node is null, it's empty. So sum is 0. Then we're going to check if the node that we're currently on is a leaf node. So if root.left is equal to null and root.right is equal to null, then we need to check if the node which we're currently on is to the left of the previous node that we used to be on. So we're checking if is left is true. And so we're going to do that in one sentence like this. Instead of writing an if-else block, we're just going to do it in one sentence like this. So if we're on a leaf node, return is left question mark. And if it is, then the true condition that we need to return is root.val. Otherwise, if it's false, return 0. So if is left is true, return root.val. If is left is false, return 0. So after we exit this if statement, we just need to return left leaves of root.left and true plus left leaves of root.right and false. So on any node that we're on, Once we do root.left, we're going to set our isLeft to be true. That means we're exploring the left side. And every time we explore the right side, root.right, we're going to set it to false. And the only time we add values is when the current node that we're on is to the left of our previous node, and if it is a leaf node. That's the entire gist of the problem. So let's submit our code and see if it works. And there we go. So that was the sum of left leaves problem on LeetCode. I hope you found that video helpful, and thanks for watching.